around in the country trying to get some kind of printing business or the other. That's the first. And in that, people want to leave their core competency and get into something because they feel grass is greener on the other side. Time given by customers and for everything today is less. Everybody is in a rush. Deadlines are near impossible. Turnaround times customers demand are absolutely ridiculous. Artwork is still not coming and the customer says, I want delivery at 1 o'clock. But what kind of world we are living in? That's the other side of the modern technology. But that's how it goes. Demand is for, everybody wants quality. Nobody wants to pay the price for it. Okay? I'm one of those fortunate ones who deals with customers who are based in Europe, who are based in North America, and these customers understand the relation of quality and price, relation between turnaround times and price. So if my foreign customer calls me and tells me, Mehul, I want this in 3 working days, the turnaround time for this job is 3 working days, I quote him a price based on that. That allows me the luxury of pushing back certain jobs because my returns on these jobs are far better. If he doesn't find the price good enough, I go back, he comes back to me and tells me, Mehul, it's okay, 3 days ka 7 din kar do, normal routine. So then the price changes. But that customer is an evolved customer who is willing to pay the price that I'm asking for a service that I am rendering. Unfortunately, the domestic market does not recognize this. I'm sure a lot of you face this problem with your clients. Am I right? Anybody? All of you. Yeah. So customer wants it now and he wants it the cheapest. This is the modern day problem that faces. So that leads to a situation which is something like this. The differentiator between service providers is getting absolutely eliminated. Okay? So what does this lead to? It leads to a situation where we have become a commodity. तरकारी खरीदने जाते हैं, okay? बाजार है पूरा. पहले वेंडर को पूछा आलू कितने में दिया, बोला 2 रुपया. दूसरे को पूछा तो बोला 1.75. तीसरे को पूछा. Finally you negotiate and you take price. So we have become a commodity to our customers. Why we have become a commodity? Because there is no differentiator. All of us are talking the same thing. All of us are doing the same thing. The commoditization of the printer has led to the buyer consolidating. Okay? The buyer has become more powerful. The buyer is now controlling you. The most hated 2 words, reverse auction. Okay? We trip each other to participate in reverse auctions. We cut each other and we take up businesses at loss and after 1 year realize, by God, what has happened? So commoditization and consolidation has led to a shift in the power. We as the sellers have no say at all in anything. Customer says, मुझे ये price चाहिए और ये delivery चाहिए, देना पड़ेगा और हम साले झुक के उसको वो देते हैं. Okay? This is what we try to do. This leads to a situation which is very, very uncomfortable. We're cutting prices. Somebody is willing to offer a brochure at 1 rupee, the next guy gets up and says 95 paisa, third guy says 90 paisa, one guy one morning wakes up and says 60 paisa. Okay? We're cutting cost. How are we cutting cost? Because our prices to our customers are dropping. Within our organizations, we're cutting costs. How do we cut cost? We retrench staff. We overload our whatever little staff that we've left. We don't invest in newer technologies. We don't invest in what is required to beef up the business. We don't do any of those things. What we instead do is we cut corners. And when you cut prices in the marketplace and you cut your own cost, what you get is poor quality and poor services. This is the modern day scenario for most printers. Your margins are completely eroded. You have nothing by way of innovation. You are completely at your client's mercy. If the client finds another vendor who is giving it to him 15% cheaper, he goes there because he doesn't see you bringing value. That, my dear friends, is the reality of our industry today. Okay, any questions, any difference of opinions on this so far? Anybody needs to ask me? Everybody's awake? Sorry? You work on both. You work on both. Your strength is something which you highlight to your customer. Okay? You show your customer your strength. Your weakness is something which you should know so that you can work on it to eliminate it so that your customer does not notice it. Okay? But both are very important. You must know your strengths and you must know your weakness. Okay? But strength is something which should be visible. Weakness is something which you work on internally. And your organization, people in your organization should be. People are very scared to talk about their weaknesses. To give you an example, as an organization, at MOS, we may be weak on offset printing. Okay? But we know that's our weakness. And because we know that is our weakness, we continuously work towards eliminating that weakness. We pay extra attention to that. You understand? But that's something for me to know, not for my customer to know. Yeah?
This me-too attitude will automatically disappear once you do your own SWOT analysis.
It should. Logically speaking, it should. But at times what happens is the human mind plays a lot of tricks. A person may be so insecure that he feels or she feels that let me do it because X is doing, Y is doing, Z is doing. And that is a very, very dangerous thing for that particular organization. So to answer your question, I wouldn't take it for granted that by doing a SWOT analysis, we would eliminate all those guys. But yes, a lot of us would become very, very cautious in how we move forward if we do an honest SWOT of our own organization. If we are honest enough. If I today, for some reason, I feel that, Fahim is doing very well in packaging. Okay, he's setting up new plants, he's doing this, that. Iqbal is doing very well. So let me get into packaging. But if I'm honest and I do my SWOT analysis, I will immediately realize that I have nothing to offer to a packaging client. What am I going to do? And I would abandon the idea because I am a sensible guy. But there are some people who would say, okay, no, still I want to do it. So a little bit, but to a great extent it would reduce. Okay, so how do we create, sorry? Simple, very simple solution. There you. Why waste money? Why break your head? Pick up the phone and tell Fahim, Fahim, I have this job, will you do it? Fahim says, yeah, send it across. Sometimes he says, no, I'm full up, I don't have time. Yeah, it'll come in this only. So how do we go about doing this? What is it that has changed? Today is no longer the time when we can go and do cold calls. We cannot ask our salespeople that, okay, go into Nariman Point, I want at least 15 cold calls from you. Or go into MIDC, I want at least so many cold calls from you. We can't do that. So how do we get business? What do we do? This is where our strategy are the same. So linking it back to what I said, owners are the chief marketing officers, CMOs, chief strategists, whatever you want to call them. Okay, you have verticals identified based on your own SWOT. Okay, we know we are operating in a very competitive market. So let's now look at what is the answer. There's no magic wand, there's no miracle. It's all lot of hard work. It's a lot of spade work that you need to do to be able to go into the marketplace and win a customer. Okay, first and foremost, once you have identified the verticals which as an organization you want to approach, the vertical could be anything. The vertical could be insurance, FMCG, hotels, whatever it is. You must understand that you are equipped to handle that. Once you've done that, in those verticals, who are the top players? List down the 100 companies in that particular vertical. Okay? Trust me, if you know that vertical, at least 15 of them, you will be able to list down straight away without even referring to anything. Okay. So pick and choose. How we do it at MOS is that every single business development person, and we don't recruit in MOS somebody who is a sales executive or something. We've tried to recruit people who are from an outside of the printing industry. People who have business development acumen but may not necessarily know printing, but are aware of markets. What do? We have created a bank. There are certain verticals that we work on. We don't work on everything. Somebody comes to us and says, we want this, we say no, because that's not figuring into our scheme of things, okay? We've positioned MOS as not a printing company. We've positioned MOS not as a data or a variable data printing company or a digital printing company. We've positioned MOS as a campaign management company. It's a very strategic positioning that we've done. I'll explain that to you a little later, but the reason we've done that is because every company who comes to us who understands what a direct mailing campaign or a direct marketing campaign management service is will understand what we're offering to them. Okay? So the identification is very easy. Now, you choose and pick clients who are from your vertical. Okay? You list them down. These are the companies that are very, very, very important, that are the segment leaders. Then you go onto the internet and find out the other list, look at the association directories, look at everything that is available, and you prepare a list. So what you now have is a potential list of prospective customers. They're still not your customers. They could be your customers because you feel that based on the SWOT analysis that you've done of your organization, based on the study of the vertical you have done of which you want to approach, you have now identified that these are the clients who are best fit for your organization. It's not so simple. They have to also agree to your thinking. Otherwise, it would be, no selling seminar would be required. So this is what the main thing is, that you first identify. Once you've done that, okay, you understand that particular vertical. How do you do this? It's become very simple in today's world. Internet has answers to everything. You are able to find out a lot of things about the clients that you have selected, okay, and the clients that you want to approach. You can go into the internet, look that client up, find out information which is there on that client. So you continuously keep doing that. You can pick up the phone and call them, okay, but you ask questions. Now, please understand that this is only about a selling strategy. There are certain skills required to do this, which is what we call as selling skills. Okay, but we are not, because of paucity of time, we are not covering selling skills on this program. We are only talking about selling from a strategy point of view. So we are keeping the skills out of it. But here is what we call as the probing skills of the salesperson comes into play. What is probing? Probing is asking questions which get you the kind of answer that you want. Different scenario. But you ask and you get a lot of answers. So you have still not approached the client. Please understand, you are choosing and picking your clients sitting in the comforts of your office. You are developing a docket on them, okay, which is again within your office. You have still not approached the client. Okay, you have gathered as much as you can gather about this client. You use internet, you use reference, you ask friends, you ask anybody wherever possible. You go to trade associations of that particular vertical, get information, use all kinds of things to get your information. Once you have that information that you have or you require, the basic things, okay, then is the time when you sit down with your marketing team. You sit and you decide what is going to be the best approach. Within a vertical also, it's not the same approach that you cannot have a customized presentation that you give to every, like if I am today approaching insurance sector, okay, I'm not going to give the same presentation to, ICICI, to XYZ, to anybody. I'm going to have 4 or 5 common slides, and then I'm going to customize within that presentation certain slides which I know are pain areas for that customer. Okay, so you sit here with your team and you decide what your USP is. What is it that you're going to offer? What gives you that edge over the customer? This is all a designing board. It could all be wrong. When you actually go and meet the customer, it could all go wrong. It could all unravel. But that's the beauty of business. You need to keep fine-tuning your strategies as you move along in the marketplace. Okay? You may go there, you may find that your approach was not right, come back to the office, come back to the drawing board, re-strategize and go back. That's how the approach is. So you need to ensure that your USP is there. Once you've done that, okay, you provide solutions. You think of what solutions will be the answer to that customer. This is all still happening within your office. You have still not gone to the customer. Okay? This is all homework. This is what you are sitting and doing. I don't know how many of you do this, but trust me, this approach has helped us grow business in the domestic sector at phenomenal place. 3 years back, MOS did not have a single domestic client. We were a 100% export-oriented company. Okay. We did not have a single customer who was giving us printing work in India. The day we decided to enter this particular marketplace, okay, we had our strategy in place. For nearly 8 months, we were only a drawing board. I had recruited three people for the domestic market, and for 8 months, they were only in the office. I was carrying that cost. Some of you will ask, okay, what is the return? But that's a decision that I had made, that I will have to carry that cost if I want to succeed. And when we went out, okay, we started getting immediate results. First year turnover, domestic market 2 crores. Second year turnover, domestic market 6 crores. Third year turnover, domestic market 12.5 crores. This year is going to be our 4th year into the domestic market. We will cross approximately 18.5 crores. It's based on a very, very, very systematic way of working. It may sound a lot of work. It may sound that, but this is how it has to be done. Unless and until you are able to position yourself in front of a customer with a USP, with a differentiator, with value addition, you will not build a relationship. You will only have a client. And that client will go to the next printer if that printer offers 20% cheaper. My client won't go because I have built a relationship and I have built something where he feels that I'm indispensable and I'm a part of his team. So this is where you do your provision. Each one of you knows your business best. You know what the customer wants. You know your segments. You know what you are addressing. So you need to do that. Demonstrate value. This is when you have started moving into the customer space. You have met customer. You've started talking to him. He has shown a little bit of interest. Okay? But customers are also, though you may be making a lot of sense, the customer may not want to shift because he has established processes, he has everything happening, he doesn't want to, upset the apple cart, so he tries to ignore you. I want to ask somebody here, how much money as print company owners do you spend, or what is the budget that you have allotted to development, business development, per se? Anybody can help me with this? Amit? I don't want you to answer, okay? But anybody else? Okay? When I went to ICICI Life Insurance, we had done all of this. We approached, everything was fine. But the final thing they gave, we are not too sure about your competency on printing policy documents. Printing policy documents, or the welcome kit as we call it, is a very, very tedious job. It's more IT specific rather than printing specific. Okay? It involves a lot of processes. It involves sending email PDFs. It involves ensuring those PDFs are printed onto this thing. A lot of work goes on into that. So it's a very, very complex job. So they said we are not very convinced, okay, about the capabilities. We tried to understand, okay, because you need to understand where the customer is coming from. That's again another skill. It's called testing understanding. You understand whether he is having a problem with your skills, or behind that thing lies a fear that my established processes are there. I don't want to upset my management by delaying my welcome kit. It could be that also. So you need to understand. So you ask the customer as to whether his fear is my competency or upsetting the apple cart. Once you have an answer, you provide a solution. So they said, no, we have no worries about that. We are worried that you may not know what it takes to print a policy document. On the spot, I told him, I said, let's do one thing. Give me a test data file of 5,000 records. I will print it. You tell me your standard deadline, I know. I'm doing it for the first time. I'm still not asking you one extra day. This is the confidence I have in my IT setup. I have the confidence in my people. I am going to do this free of cost for you. And if you feel that I have done a good job, then you will ensure that I start getting jobs from you. And they were floored. They didn't have any other thing to do. They said, okay. Next day we received the data files. We did the policy kits. It's a huge amount of cost because you have 4-color covers outside, you have highly personalized sheets inside, 16 pages, all of that. We did that, and we gave it to them in their turnaround time. They actually checked to see whether we have aired or not. Okay? And they found, and they were surprised. They said, it takes at least 3 months of hand-holding before we are able to allow our vendor to, start working on his own. And you've amazed us. And we worked together, and we sat down, we did the commercials. This is what I mean by development experience. The proof of the pudding is in eating it, people. How many print companies actually are willing to do this? Development work. I think the only person I know is Amit. You want to share? Come on, don't feel shy.
You're going to share? Yeah, I feel so good about it because I'm from this school. 30 years, I'm very excited. 30 years, 1985 I passed, so 38 years. Never mind. So, I'm talking about my personal experience. Mehul gave me the chance. I'm thankful. The development, what he says, is that we normally go to the customer for their needs. आपको क्या चाहिए? आप poster बनाते हो, brochures, packaging, whatever. But have you thought of, you create the need for the customer?
Yeah. Okay.
You map the client, what Mehul said. You understand, and though he has not bought it, you think of it, and you develop samples, entire process, thinking of it that he will buy it, and then you sell it. See that way. I have one small example of a signage what we've developed, 5 feet by 10 feet, print and form, and that customer has not bought it. They don't have any idea how it's going to work. They don't know what price they'll buy it. For that, we have to customize machine. We took 1.5 years to develop that machine. From that machine, we have to have 6 months of trials to come out with one single sample, which customer is not going to pay for machines and for trials and for samples. Though on the 3D, on a computer, it looks so good, but customer said, unless we don't see the final outcome, I am not able to judge anything. So this investment is definitely can you do all these processes and then you decide here. It cannot be your whims and fancies. You have to map, understand, see, and then you do it. And this is a huge investment everywhere. Your people, your time, money, the processes, everything gets there. And today, I can tell you with a lot of pride that day for yesterday, 2nd October, we have won the Innovative Award in India for that innovations only. So, this is the way we look into it, and I think so Mehul will also agree with it. Thank you, Mehul.
Hey, somebody told me that this mic sounds much better than the other one. Is this better? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. It's difficult to juggle everything. So I may press the mic to change the slide and I may use this. So don't laugh at me, okay? Okay. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so this is what I mean by having a budget. This is what I mean by having a budget allocated for development of business. Business development is not only about entertaining client after office hours. Business development is having a systematic plan, okay, to spend money, a certain part of your profits on getting more business. This is very, very critical. Trust me, it gives fantastic results. I am one example of that. I got you Amit here. I'm sure there are some other people who are. Yeah, please. Most welcome.
नाम बड़ा लगता है, but I didn't know that this means business development. But we did something similar, which I'd like to share. We had an American customer who didn't have the confidence that the books would reach the US in a correct way. So they just finished their print run, and I said, let's do another print run. They said, we don't have the matter. I said, we do another print run of the same job. So we don't need it. I said, I'm not charging you for it. So we couriered the books. I think there was 1,000 copies or so. Order was of 5,000, but we just 1,000 copies because we wanted to see whether it reaches the remote places of the US in the right way. And after that, it took us a year. And now we're doing that magazine for the entire world. But we just supplied them free of cost, and they got feedback that yes, the material has reached in a proper way, the labeling is correct, the material is correct, and then, so it works. That's your investment.
Thanks, Fahim. So this is the power of business development, because every customer has certain reservations in shifting. You know, sometimes you wonder, even if you're offering the most competitive pricing, customer is not so willing to change. Why? Because he doesn't want to change his already established processes, etc. Or he's afraid that you may not be able to deliver what he's expecting. So you must offer proof of your capabilities. This is very, very critical. Deliver values. Values are not just in terms of the product making and giving to the customer. Values of your organization should be visible, okay, to the customer. Values are ensuring that you are an ethical company which is doing business in a very transparent way, where you are not overcharging your customer, where you are not doing shady things, where we as print fraternity are aware as to the opinion that a lot of people have about printers. It's about time we change that. It's in our hands. Just because of a few bad apples, everybody is painted by the same brush, is not something that we should take very lightly. As the printing fraternity, we must come across to our customers that we are very, very ethical people. If I am saying that I will use a 90 GSM paper, then I will use only 90 GSM paper. I am not going to shortchange you. So within what we do as an organization, we must deliver value to the customer. Value is also giving a little more than what the customer. Today's world, customer satisfaction is no longer the magic word. Delighting the customer is the magic word. Okay, what is delighting a customer? You deliver your product or service and it brings a smile onto the customer's face because he's happy, because he's experiencing something which he expected and a little beyond that. That's what you do. That is what is delivering values. This is where you build business. This is where you win business, and this is where the business stays with you. You do not lose sleep in the night that the next guy who is going to give 15% off is going to take away your business. Okay? This is very, very critical. So, I think we need to take a small break. That's what I have been told. So, how much is the break? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? 15 minutes? Okay, guys. Thank you very much.